Thanks for tuning in to the weekly staff devotion. Last week during staff, we read from John 15 about Jesus as the vine and the branches. And so it made me think of this book, how God is the gardener, and Jesus and the Holy Spirit guide us on the path to making us all He wants us to be. Enjoy as I read the book. Once there was a gardener who owned a garden. The gardener loved all the plants in his garden, and the plants loved him. Season after season, the gardener would tend to his plants. In the heat of the summer, in the cold of winter, he knew that each season was important for his plants to grow. There was in a corner of the garden a little plant that was hidden beneath the growth of the bigger plants. The little plant used the bigger plants as protection to receive shade from the sun and guard it from the dangers of the wind and storms. It did not know it needed the sunlight and rain to nourish its roots and make it healthy and strong. Because the little plant was hidden, it could not grow like it was supposed to. The plant was surviving in the garden, but not truly living like the gardener intended. One day in early spring, the gardener found the little plant and got on his hands and knees and began digging around it. The gardener began digging, and the little plant felt pain as its roots were being separated from the soil. As the gardener walked the little plant across the garden, it felt safe in the gardener's hands. The gardener came to a place in the garden where the soil had the best mixture of nutrients with just the right amount of sunshine. There the gardener placed the little plant because the gardener knew this was the spot where it could grow the best. However, when the little plant was moved to its new spot, it became angry with the gardener. "Why did you move me from my hidden spot in the shade?" the little plant protested. The gardener kindly responded, "Little plant, sometimes it's comfortable to live in the darkness, and sometimes the light hurts. But you need the light to live. You can't truly live like I want you to, unless you live in the light. That's why I moved you here, because I love you. You are right that some of the other plants may be bigger than you, stronger than you, taller than you, or more colorful than you. But that doesn't mean they are more important. Little plant, I want you to trust me that everything I do for you is because I love you, and I want you to grow." "Okay," said the little plant, "help me to trust you." Spring turned to summer, and the season became very hot and dry. The little plant became thirsty and complained to the gardener, "Gardener, why aren't you watering me? Don't you know that I'm very thirsty and need water to survive?" "Well, sure I do. But when I don't water you, I'm challenging you to dig your roots deeper into the soil where you will find a larger and better source of water to drink. Little plant, remember, I want you to trust me that everything I do for you is because I love you, and I want you to grow." "Okay," said the little plant, "help me to trust you." In the middle of one dark and windy storm, the little plant began to tremble and pleaded, "Gardener, I'm scared of these storms." The gardener tenderly responded, "Little plant, I know storms can be scary, but without them, you will not become strong. Remember, little plant, I want you to trust me that everything I do for you is because I love you and I want you to grow." "Okay," said the little plant, "help me to trust you." Fall passed, and the air became cold, and the ground became hard again with the frost and snow, signifying the change of winter. One day the gardener went out to his garden with clippers and began cutting away at the little plant's branches. "Ouch!" yelled the little plant. "Why are you doing this? Don't you know you are hurting me?" Well, the gardener says, "Sure, but when I cut away the bad branches, it will allow more good branches to grow in its place. Remember, little plant, I want you to trust me that everything I do for you is because I love you and I want you to grow." "Okay," said the little plant, "help me to trust you." Finally, after the long winter, the sun broke through the gray and gloomy clouds, and its bright rays shined upon the garden. This time, the brightness of the sun felt warm and comforting because the little plant knew that the sun provided nourishment and life. The little plant knew that the sun was going to help it grow into the plant the gardener wanted it to be. When summer came, the ground again turned hard and the soil in the garden began to crack. The little plant grew thirsty, but this time, instead of complaining to the gardener, the little plant dug its roots deeper into the ground where it found the more plentiful source of water to nourish its roots. When the winds and the rains of fall came again, the little plant did not become afraid of breaking. Instead, this time, the little plant used the storms to strengthen its trunk and limbs so that it could be a more resilient plant, a strong plant that would persevere and grow fruit. Winter rolled around once more. The ground froze and the snow fell, and the gardener came out with his clippers and began cutting away at the branches of the little plant. As time passed and the little plant continued to let the trials of the seasons help it grow and mature, all the while the gardener was beside the little plant, tending to its needs and always reminding the little plant of his love. Finally, the little plant could see that all along its gardener had been faithful to it. All that the gardener had told it was true. Everything that he did for the little plant was because he loved it and wanted the little plant to grow. And now the little plant was finally blossoming for the gardener, and both were filled with joy.